So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to do SEO keyword research. You're literally just going to watch over my shoulder as I build a keyword database the right way. The truth is, keyword research is the most critical skill for SEO because if you don't do it right, you'll end up going after keywords that A, are not a good fit for your business, and B, are too competitive, which will be a drain on resources. So it's really critical that you get keyword research right. It's critical that you pick the right keywords. Otherwise, you're just going to waste a bunch of time and effort. So I'm going to help you avoid all of that nonsense, and we're going to jump right into it. I'm going to build a real database and show you how I would build it in a real life scenario. So my name is Nathan Gotch, and I'm the founder of Gotch SEO Academy, which is an SEO training program for agencies. And I'm also the author of this book, The SEO Entrepreneur, and the founder of a new SEO software that's for agencies that helps them create content that ranks, rankability. Okay, so for existing keywords, there's two things you can do. You can either use a paid tool like SEMrush, and you would basically just go into here, enter your domain into the search bar, and then go to organic research and then go to positions, and then you can actually just export your whole keyword profile. I'd recommend exporting the entire thing. Now, if you don't want to use SEMrush, you could theoretically use Google Search Console as well. And what you'll see are all the keywords that you're currently ranking for. Then you can select, like the last 12 months. And then just go ahead and export all of these keywords and then add them to your database. And so what I want to do is the first couple things, I want to go ahead and just get this kind of organized. So we're going to freeze this row, add a filter here. What we want to do is first we want to start to sort these keywords based on position. Okay, we're always going to start just purely based on where are they currently located. All right, and one thing that I like to do is you can see the position column here, you can see previous. Not that important. I really care about where we currently are. So what we can do is actually go ahead and we'll put a column in here, and we're going to put a category. So we'll just put category. And then if you right click, you're going to go to drop down, and then we're going to add some things. Okay. And just by the way, I already have these templates built out in Gotch SEO Academy, but I'm just building it here from scratch just so you can see. Okay. So first one we're going to do is low hanging fruit. All right. This one. And then we're also going to put existing. So I'll kind of show you what these all are here. And then we'll look at clustering opportunities. Okay. And then theoretically, you could add these other ones as well, which is something I teach as well, which is untapped and unknown. And now what we want to do is we're going to sort this from A to Z, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to any keyword that's ranking from position 2 to 15 is what I consider to be a low-hanging fruit, okay? And a low-hanging fruit is really important. And like as far as the priority goes, low-hanging fruit keywords are the most important because if we can just move a few of these keywords up a couple of positions, we get a substantial increase in long tail traffic and traffic in general. So, if you go from position 2, like for SEO books, I'm number 2. If I go from 2 to 1, typically the number 1 spot is, roughly, let's say 30% organic CTR. Number 2, that typically goes down to about 15%. So that's a 100% difference in organic clicks. And as you go down each individual spot, it gets progressively worse. So there's a lot of value in trying to improve the rankings on each individual spot. I think too many people get too wrapped up in ranking on the first page, but ranking on the first page is basically pointless unless you're in the top 3. So that's why I spend so much time thinking about okay, how can we go from number 2 to number 1 or number 3 to number 2? Like it makes a huge difference. So categorize all of these as low-hanging fruits, and then we'll move on to the next. Now at this point, you should have all the low-hanging fruits nice and categorized. Now what we're going to do is now we're going to categorize any keywords that are from position 16 to 50 as what we would call existing keywords, okay? These keywords are also very important, but they're not as important as low-hanging fruits. So, this is a matter of priority. So go ahead and categorize those, and then we'll talk about the next ones. Okay, so now at this point, we've got all the existing keywords lined up, and now what we're gonna do is any keywords that are ranking from positions 51 to 100 is what we're going to classify as a clustering opportunity. So now at this point, what we want to do is we're going to start to just filter down this list to find some really core keywords they want to go after. Now, there's a few things that I like to do right away just to basically filter through this list. So when we look at this right now, I think we've got about 8,868 keywords. Okay, 8,868. Now that is way too many keywords to build a campaign for. So we got to break this down, try to get to maybe about just kind of like a group of, let's say 50 to 100 keywords that we want to start to optimize for, okay? And so what I do is I'll go over here to the intent section, and I will immediately exclude navigational keywords. So just exclude them right away. Now, the reason for that is because a navigational keyword, there's some of the worst keywords to rank for. So if I rank for something like, let's say vidIQ, this is a branded keyword. It's navigational in nature, meaning someone who searches this is navigating towards the brand. And unless this is your brand, you are going to suffer. Look at how far I would be down the page. So right now we've got a sponsored listing here, which is just a Google ad. Then we've got the actual company here that is not mine. And then we go to here, we got people also ask, and then we've got their branded stuff all in here. And as you keep going down the list, eventually we might get down to a traditional search result that is not owned by the brand, okay? But for the most part, it's pretty invisible, okay? You're not really gonna, like I'm finally down here. So I'm getting no clicks on this URL at all for this specific like singular phrase, all right? And I would never try to rank for this singular phrase because I just know that even if I did, let's say I executed this perfectly and I got to number 2. Let's say I like beat out their YouTube channel, which would never happen, okay? Let's say I beat it out, my CTR would still be sub 1%. And the reason I know that is because I've ranked for tons of not like navigational keywords like this. They're some of the worst. Like I don't recommend them at all. You're going to waste your time. And in fact, these are actually the trickiest because what you'll often find with these navigational keywords is a lot of them are really low competition. Okay, that's kind of where it gets tricky. So you go here, we'll search by navigational, and then we'll sort this by keyword difficulty, and you'll see some of these. You're like, wow, this looks like a great opportunity. I could build an asset for SiteLiner. Okay, it's only a KD of 14. All right, now that's just because no one is going after these because they know it's a huge waste of time. So no one's allocating a lot of resources and time towards these keywords, and therefore there's not a lot of link acquisition. There's just not a lot of effort because it is an absolutely losing battle. So I would just go ahead and eliminate them from the list altogether. Next thing we're gonna wanna do is we're going to want to filter by keyword difficulty. There's just some keywords that are not gonna be a good use of resources, all right? At least in this current moment. And at the end of the day, this is a matter of allocating money and time towards specific keywords. There's no reason to go after keywords that are insanely competitive because unless you have a really strong website from a link building perspective, you're going to be just fighting an uphill battle. What I would do is I would go ahead and actually just get rid of anything that, you can choose your own, but let's say less than or equal to, let's just start, I like to start really low. So let's do like 10. Okay. So I'm going to go super low. Okay. I want to see what are the lowest competition opportunities that I can tackle right away. What you're going to find is now we've broken this list down. Now we're at 244 keywords. Okay. So a lot less. All right. So now we can start to mess around here and start to see if there's opportunity. Now, the next thing I want to do is we actually are going to want to assign some value to keyword intent. Okay. So when we're thinking about keyword intent, this just means at what stage of the funnel is that searcher? Okay, so if they have informational intent, if that's what their objective is, all right, so we'll look at that. We'll look at just informational intent based keywords, all right, so we're gonna look at those. And if we look at a few of these, we'll take any of these random ones. Let's say, immigration attorney SEO, that one could potentially fall into a little bit deeper in the funnel. Let's find one that's a little more informational than that. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just looking through these. Okay, right here. This is a good one. So how to build a PBN. Okay. So that just means how to build a private blog network. All right. So we'll go ahead and look at that. And this is a great example because we throw this in here. And let's say, I'm not saying you should do this, but I'm just saying let's say you had a business that sold PBN, networks, or you build the sites for them or whatever it is, you're involved in this industry. I'm not here to judge. Whatever you want to do is your thing, depending on your risk tolerance. But for me, what I'm looking at is like, okay, this is an informational keyword. We know this is top of the funnel. So this person who's searching this is interested in building a PBN. It doesn't mean that they're like already ready to buy a product. They're just looking like, show me the step-by-step process to build this, okay? And the reason why these keywords are important is because it drives brand awareness. It drives awareness for the problem, and then you can funnel them deeper into the funnel. But the problem with these is that they don't convert really well, okay? So what you don't want to do is start at the top of the funnel and then prioritize those keywords, because you want to start at the bottom of the funnel, go after the keywords that have a high probability of converting, and then work your way up the funnel to support those bottom of the funnel keywords. So in this case, how to build a PBN would not be one that I would want to prioritize at this point, okay? What I would want to do instead is prioritize the commercial or the transactional keywords. So that's why when we look at this, I use a point system in my process, but you can do the same thing here. Real simple point system can make it really easy. So like if you do it on the scale, like basically the intents that we have here to choose from, commercial, transactional, and informational. So we got basically 3 intents. So as far as I would categorize, like for a transactional keyword, I would put that at a 3, commercial at 2, and then put the informational at 1. Okay. So for commercial, that would be like a score of 2. All right. And then we'll go back down and we'll look at like transactional. Okay. Transactional would be a score of 3. Okay. And what you're doing is you're kind of building a point system to ultimately prioritize these opportunities. All right. Now, once again, what you could do is you could literally just filter by the keyword intent. So like if we wanted, instead of assigning points, if you want to make it easier, we can just go ahead and filter these out and only look at the bottom of the funnel keywords, okay? So then what we're left with is a very small amount of keywords to pick from, all right? And some of these might be good, some of them might not be good, but basically what we want to do is basically look for opportunities in this range. And this is what you do. You start with really, really narrow filters and then slowly expand out from there. That way you can find good opportunities. So I would even take this a step further and only look at low-hanging fruits, okay? So we're only looking at low-hanging fruits that have extremely low difficulty and have transactional intent, okay? So, we started with 8,000 keywords. Now we're down to, 2, okay? This is where understanding the relevance of a keyword to what your core offer is comes into play. So for example, I sell Rankability, which is an SEO software, an SEO content optimization software. And this Surfer SEO is someone who is a competitor in my industry. Okay, they also sell a great tool themselves. So if I was going to attack this, I would want to rank for this, because what I could do is I could actually promote my asset for this keyword, right? So I go into here and boom, I answer this question, this query, and then what I do is I can offer up an alternative which can drive organic search traffic to my software. Okay, so this is where things, I'm not trying to get overly technical, but this is the way that you start to think about things like, okay, if we rank for this, how is this going to lead to the conversion objective that we're going for? But one thing you can do is you can actually add what in my template, I have what's called a relevance column. So you can actually go ahead and just add another column here and then just put relevance, okay? And once again, you can use some sort of scoring mechanism to determine it. But basically the relevance score should be based on how relevant is this keyword to the thing that we sell. All right. And so in this case, Surfer SEO group by, that would get probably a 3 based on what I would sell. And so, 3 meaning its highest relevance. Okay. Buy Web 2.0 backlinks, that's not really relevant to anything that I sell. So I would probably put that more like a 1. Okay. Not super relevant to what I'm doing. And then from there, I would just, slowly start to, build out the relevance points to determine, where all of this should go. Okay. And this goes along with the keyword intent as well. So, you give these 3s. And then at the end of this, you can have kind of like a cumulative point total here, and you can combine these various points that you've added up, okay? And that will allow you to prioritize. And once again, you don't have to do this, but to me, when I've gone through this process, probably hundreds of times at this point, I've built so many databases, trying to make it as efficient as possible. This is the best thing to do, because at the end of the day, the most important reasons to pick keywords is, number one, is it relevant to what we offer? That should be hands down the most important thing. Is it actually relevant? Number two, does it have good intent? Like, are people actually gonna, when they search this, are actually gonna have a high probability of converting? And then number three, can we actually compete on this keyword? Like, if you just answer those three questions, then you're like 90% of the way there, okay? And when I talk about the third one, which is competition, that is really, really important, because if you pick a keyword that's overly competitive, and you don't have the authority to rank for it, well, number one, you're not going to rank. And number two, let's say you wanted to pursue it, like you had your mind set on it. Well, it's going to require a massive amount of link acquisition and backlinks to be able to rank. That means higher cost of backlinks. Also, when you go after really competitive keywords, you usually have to create really, really good content as well. So just keep that in mind. And the higher the quality of the content, the bigger the investment. What we're doing here now is, what I would recommend doing is actually starting to just kind of highlight some of these keywords that you like. So this one, I'll go ahead and highlight in green. Okay, this just means like this is one that I probably would want to go after. All right. So now at this point, what we can do is we can start to loosen up these filters. So I'm actually going to loosen this up to about 30 and see what we can find. Okay, so now we've loosened it up. We still got good low-hanging fruits. We still have keywords that have transactional type of intent here, and we're going to filter those out. And what we want to see is, like, is there anything else here that we can kind of go and attack? And you can see here, there's some commonalities with these. Like, when you see it's transactional intent, you can see buy is typically in it. Discounts or whatever it may be is typically going to have that type of intent. So just something to keep in mind. All right. So I would actually loosen it up, and now I would go more towards, let's go ahead and change it to commercial. All right. So now at this point, we're going to have about 200 keywords to start filtering through and seeing if there's any opportunity for going after some of these, if they're relevant to what we do. Okay. So this is just one way of going about this. Another way you can go about this, if you want to immediately go for pure relevance, what you can do is actually just go ahead and we'll take this filter off to kind of redo this. And then if you want to try to find those like highly relevant keywords like right away, what I would do is I'd actually just go over here in the keyword section, start searching things that are highly relevant to what you do. So like for me, it'd be like SEO training. Okay. And I would look for that. I would select those and I would see what pops up. Okay. So now I'm seeing, okay, we've got a bunch of SEO training keywords. These are highly relevant to what I personally do. And I would see if there's any opportunity here to kind of go after these keywords. All right. So SEO training, is highly relevant to what I do, and put that in there. And then all of these, if I see any that are good. Now, free is always dangerous because, I'm not necessarily trying to attract people that are interested in free training. I want them to make the investment in my more advanced level training. So this may not attract the right people into my ecosystem. Okay, so this is where the nuance comes into play. You got to be careful with that. Advanced SEO training though is beautiful, right? That's a beautiful keyword. SEO training certification, once again, good best SEO training. Those are all good. And then looking through these, NYC, that's great. Birmingham, sure, that's good. Melbourne and Denver. Okay, these are all great keywords. Okay, these are all ones that I would definitely want to pursue. And of course, whether I pursue them is going to be largely dependent on the keyword difficulty. Okay, so this is it. This is all you have to do to filter through. Basically, what you're doing is you're just filtering through a large set of keywords based on a certain criteria. And just to review, like the criteria that we're looking at that matters the most, number one is relevance. We begin there. Is it relevant to what we do? Number two, where are we located in the SERPs? Like, are we ranking relatively well, and can we just add a little fuel on this fire to improve the rankings? we want to add that to our prioritization, okay? Search volume is absolutely something you should consider as well. But as far as the variables that we're considering, it's not really that important. What the reason why it's important is because it just gives us intel into, is there actually demand for this keyword, right? You don't want to go after keywords that just no one is even searching. That would be really, really pointless. So the only utility of search volume is just confirmation that people actually that this keyword actually has demand. Okay, so that's the only utility on that front. Then keyword difficulty, once again, is just largely based on, can we actually rank for this, right? This is telling us this is the amount of backlinks that you will likely need to be able to rank for this. So the higher that keyword difficulty, the more backlinks you're going to need. So you're going to have to consider that in your prioritization. Okay. You can use CPC as well, by the way, as a way to prioritize. Like keywords that have higher CPC typically indicate higher value. Not always, but typically you can see that there is usually higher value towards keywords that have higher CPC as opposed to those that do not. Okay. They just have lower CPC, they're low competition, which means people are not investing in them because they maybe either A, they're untapped, or B, they just don't see the utility in it, okay? And then finally, the last couple that you do need to consider, which I didn't even mention yet, which is SERP features, which is a really big one, okay? I didn't even talk about SERP features, but the more SERP features that exist, the less click-through rate you're going to get. It's that simple. So more SERP features, less clicks. It's just the nature of it. And ideally, you could prioritize keywords that have less SERP features. That would be something that would be a good idea, okay? And then lastly, keyword intent. We're always prioritize transactional intent, then move your way up to commercial intent, and then move up higher to the informational intent. So that is kind of the way you prioritize this keyword set. And then as far as finding new keywords, there's a lot of things that you can do. Okay, so this is all about existing keywords, but now to find new keywords, I'll show you real quickly. Not super complicated. Go into Keyword Gap and SEMrush. This is just what I personally do, but I'll do gotchaseo.com. And then we'll just do like a big, huge authority like Backlinko, which is now owned by SEMrush. Now we'll go over here. And the first thing I want to look at is Untapped. I just immediately click on Untapped. And what I want to see, these are all the keywords that they rank for that I do not rank for in the top 100. Okay. A lot of these are pretty crazy, but what you can do is go to position and we'll make sure that the competitors are actually in the top 10 for this. Okay. Because they might just be ranking for some stuff that they're not even ranking well for. So you wouldn't even want to go after that. So now that breaks it down to about 15,000 keywords. Now, once again, we're going to go through and we're going to start to filter these. We're going to get rid of the navigational intent, only look at these keywords. And that brings us down to about 14. And now we're going to make sure we're only looking at keywords we can actually compete on or are worth investing our time in. So 49. And now we're down to about 2,000 keywords. So that means I got about 2,000 keywords that I can filter through and add to my keyword database and see if there's opportunity to start building more content, building more topic authority, getting more opportunities for internal linking, and even more opportunities for link acquisition. Okay, so this is the way that I go after keywords, just by extracting them from competitors. That's it. Extract them out. They've already done the hard work for you, so that's easy. Okay, and then one last tactic I'll show you that you can use is what I call unknown keywords. Okay, so this is a little tactic that I like to use, and you can go into Reddit, TikTok, anywhere where there's user-generated content will be effective, okay? But what I like to do is I'll just search something like, let's say creatine, okay? We'll go into here, and what we want to do is sort by new. What I want to do is I want to see, like, is there anything here where we could potentially create content that is completely unknown? Because the one thing you have to remember is whenever you go into these keyword tools and you see this data is usually pretty old, okay? By the time there's data here, you're probably already too late. Okay, that's just kind of the way it is. Now, of course, it's not that simple. Like you can still beat people, but the point is, like, if you want to get ahead of people, you want to be an early mover, a first mover, then this is a tactic that you can use. Now, keep in mind, always follow the 80-20 rule. So 80% of your keywords should have some sort of quantifiable reason to go after them. So whether it has search volume or whether it has user signals, there needs to be some sort of demand metric that, ensures that this is a good idea to build an asset around, because we don't want to just build assets around things that people don't care about. Okay, so there needs to be search volume or user generated signals that you can leverage. Okay, the only exception to that is on the link building front. If you're building link bait, it's kind of a different discussion. But for the most part, as far as most SEO content, 80% of the keywords that you pick should have some sort of quantifiable proof. The other 20% are what I would consider more of like a crapshoot or a gamble. Okay, and that's like some of these that you might find here. They may work, they may not, right? But at least you can look at it and see like, okay, I could probably create something here. If there's a little bit of demand, maybe it could work. So like this one here, going back to the post, this one's about 14 months old. So what is the softest creatine monohydrate to the stomach? All right, this is posted in the creatine subreddit. It only has 1 vote. So there's really to me, this is not a lot of demand. I wouldn't be super interested in this. So I'd actually go back here and I would sort by hot, okay? And see like, is there anything else here that's currently being talked about that I could potentially create content on, okay? Now this one says, should I take protein powder and creatine? Okay, might be something there. All right, you've got 3 votes, 17 comments. There's something, potentially a content idea there. This one, accidentally taking 10 grams of creatine a day. All right, once again, 5 votes, 52 comments. That would be enough user generated signals for me to at least pursue this idea to see if it's worth building an asset. Okay, so what I do is I just dig through these little user generated type of websites to find all kinds of untapped ideas. And you will find a lot. You believe it or not, there's, just because it's so granular, you're gonna find really kind of like super granular ideas that you're gonna be able to rank for really easily. Okay, so those are the unknown keywords. So that is, like I said, at a high level, that's how you do keyword research. That's kind of like the way my process goes, is like break it down really small, identify good targets, and then slowly expand out the database to basically, I'm usually looking anywhere between like, let's say 100 to 200 keywords per campaign. Just depends on the size of the budget or whatever it is. But for the most part, it's better to have your focus on a few keywords and saying, we need to improve rankings for 8,000 keywords. That's really hard, right? So it's better to get laser focused on a few pages, a few keywords, knock those out, and then move on to the next one. And by the way, this is, like I said, I just built this chicken scratch, from scratch here. But like, if you want my full keyword research process, literally like my entire keyword research process, from end to end, it's all inside of Gotcha SEO Academy. And Gotcha SEO Academy, 90% of the people in our training are other agencies that are doing work for clients. But the keyword research process that I teach in the new SEO expert certification, it's applicable to any campaign. Doesn't matter whether you're trying to grow your own business or you're working with clients or whatever it is. This will work. Okay, it will work for you. So you go in the keyword research section here. This is all marked off because this is my account, but you go into here and I'll just show you. It's really simple. I've got the whole process laid out. And the amount of detail in this is, there is no training program that exists that has this level of detail. I'm just telling you now, this is not, I'll just be totally transparent with you. This is not the type of training that you would want to come in if like you didn't even know what WordPress was. Like that's not really going to work super well. Like I already assume you've got like the base level knowledge to come in here. And this is not like for straight beginners that just found out what SEO was. Like, it's definitely not for that. But if you have a little bit of, some experience under your belt, this is what you need, because basically what I do, I don't even consider this a course. Like, this is not a course in my opinion. This is literally just the straight step-by-step process that you go through in a real life SEO campaign. And the people in our training, everyone who's in our training are pretty much most people are agencies. So I use this to train the people coming to my business, and they use this to train their team members. We have an agency in our program that has like 50 team members in our program, and they all have to go through our training to train so that they can actually deliver good results for their agency clients. Okay. But just to show you, these videos are more of demonstrations, kind of what I did today. And then the SOP, which is the most critical piece of this, is I literally go through every single detail at the most granular level. It's pretty insane. Like, you can see how much detail is here. Okay. So, and then the final piece of this is the keyword dashboard. So you can see this dashboard is just fully automated in some ways. This is just the simple keyword dashboard. And then this leads into the next piece in the training, which is the SEO content dashboard, which is a separate dashboard where you can basically prioritize all your keywords, similar to what I've done here today. But it's using like complex, I don't want to say complex formulas because it's all kind of on the back end. But basically you put your keywords in, and all the things I showed you today just automatically builds out the points. Like, the point system is automatically calculated. That way you'll automatically see the best keywords to go after in your unique scenario. So if you're interested, I'll have a link below this video. We require an application. So if you go to gotchaseo.com and then go to the Academy section, go over here, click apply, and then submit your application, okay? And this is not like some internet marketer guru application type of thing where it's like, oh, it's just an application, but then we accept everyone. It's actually, we actually only accept about, I think 30 or 40% at this point actually get to the next stage of our enrollment process, which is actually getting a phone call. So you'll jump on a call with Amber, one of my team members, or Simon or me. It could be any three of us at any point. And then we'll just see, you know, if there's an opportunity to help you, if it's a good fit. And then we'll work out the finances and all that good stuff, and then we'll get you enrolled. So that's it. So if you're interested in like never having to worry about keyword research again, then this is what you need. I'm very, very biased, very biased when I say this, but I do not believe you will need any other keyword research training. Like, once you invest in this, that's it. You're done. You don't need any other keyword research training. I just literally rebuilt it from scratch to include AI and all this, automation and good stuff. So you will not need anything else. So if you're interested, obviously it's a big investment. I'm not going to lie to you, but if you're interested, go ahead and click the link below, submit your application. And if we think it's a good fit, we'll jump on a call. So that's it for today, guys. I hope that was helpful. Just to give you kind of an overview of good old SEO keyword research. And if you like this video, as always, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.